I did get a call today from my doctor, and she basically said that she's a little bit worried that my follicles aren't going to continue to grow. So she did tell me that our next appointment, which is in 2 days, will kind of be a determining appointment on whether or not we will have to cancel this cycle or if the follicles will continue to grow. So we just finished with stims day 8. It was 150 units of Gonal-F and 150 units of Menopur. I have my appointment, which will decide whether or not we can continue this cycle or whether or not it will be canceled tomorrow. I've been feeling still some pings and soreness, so I'm hoping that the eggs are still growing and that my blood work tomorrow will show my estrogen rising again. Hopefully. I did have acupuncture yesterday, and when she was doing the needling that she usually does my ovaries, and she did one, and I was like, whoa, I felt it more than I usually normally do, and it just seems like my ovaries are sore. Today sorry if you can hear my dog. Today I basically just rested pretty much all day. I worked, but I just was laying down and working, and yeah, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm anxious, but trying to remain positive. Her appointment is at 7:30. It is Saturday tomorrow, so I tried to message them to see if they would move it later, but they wouldn't. They said that's the only appointment time they had available, so we are going to be up pretty early. The clinic is about 45 minutes away, so yeah, so it's gonna be an early morning, but hopefully when we go in, my follicles will be bigger, and then hopefully my blood work will come back that it's rising. I think I'm nervous, but I don't want to freak myself out. I started trying to read some Reddit posts about people who had, a decrease in their E2 and if they continued, but honestly, I haven't seen too much about the specific situation. I've seen where estrogen rises too high, but not really the opposite. So I don't know if it's just because I have PCOS and maybe that's why I responded so much to the Centrotide. I'm not too sure. But like I said, it's just a really fine line with me because I do have so many follicles. I think based on what they measured last time, I had 17, but those were just the bigger ones. When she does the ultrasound, I can see probably 20 to 30 on each follicle, easy. She moves the wand, and as she does it, I just see stacked bunch of things stacked on top of each other. So yeah, this is longer than I wanted it to be, but I guess this is just it's the last video before we probably find out. Well, no, I'll probably record it in the morning, but it's one of the last videos of before we will find out whether or not the cycle has been a bust or if we're gonna keep going. So I think I'm just feeling anxious, so I'm rambling. As I'm talking, I'm like starting to get emotional, but I haven't really been. I've been trying just to remain positive. So I will see all of y'all in the morning. Bye. Good morning, everyone. So we are on our way to the doctor's office to get my blood work and ultrasound stuff done. Like I said yesterday, this is the appointment that will let us know if we can continue this cycle or if we will need to cancel. Yeah, I'm feeling okay about it. Hopefully, though, when we go in, I see a bunch of follicles that are bigger than last time. But we'll just have to wait and see. And then I have acupuncture a little bit later today, and I'm hoping that I find out whether or not the cycle is canceled before I have acupuncture, but sometimes it takes a while for me to get a message about what's going to happen. Yeah, so I will update you all after the appointment. See you then. Hey everyone, so it is later on in the day. I did get a call from my doctor and my estrogen dropped again. So this cycle is canceled. I already had my cry about it. It is definitely disappointing. I think in the moment after, like, I feel like you just like want to blame someone, and so I was just like saying like, why did my doctor do the things she did? Why didn't she catch this? Like, why, you know? And the reality of the situation is that it's no one's fault, and sometimes things don't go as according to plan, and that's kind of what you sign up for when you do fertility treatment. But definitely disappointed, and you know, I think it also puts you in a mentality of like, this is so unfair. Like, there's so many people out there who just get pregnant willy-nilly, and so when you're like actively trying and you just can't for whatever reason, you know, there's some animosity there. When I was saying that though, Bridget said like, you know, you also have to keep in mind that there are people way worse than you, and like people that can't even use their own eggs or even try themselves. And so, you know, everything is in perspective, and so I'm super bummed, but I'm trying to just think about those people who've been trying for many years and still, you know, aren't there. And while we are, I think at 9 months now, 10 months maybe, almost 10 months of trying, and it feels like forever, we are definitely still grateful and blessed that we have this opportunity. So I'm bummed, but I'm trying to see the positive. I think the other thing was that when I went in, I noticed, well, when they did the follicle scan, I noticed that majority of the follicles didn't really grow. There was like a little bit of growth, but not like, maybe not even a full 1 millimeter or centimeter. Yeah, so I like kind of had an idea, and then when she called me, I was like, okay, no. But when I was getting my blood drawn, I actually asked the nurse, you know, what would happen if we had to cancel the cycle, and she had said like, oh, well, typically like after you cancel a cycle, we just wait for you to get your period. And I was like, well, you know, I'm one of those people who don't naturally ovulate unless I have like the trigger shot, so like what happens for me? And she said, well, in that case, like maybe we would give you Provera again, or, you know, maybe we would do the progesterone and oil just because that works a little bit faster. And I was like, yeah, I definitely would want to do one of those options, because I know if we just wait for my period, like I always hit the 40-day mark, which is what the minimum is before you can call in, because they're like, oh, you might still get your period. So I always hit the 40-day mark, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, now we can give you this medication. So I kind of pushed pushed back on that and told her like I really wouldn't want to do that just because I know my body and I won't get my period if I don't ovulate. So, or I won't get my period if I won't ovulate, but I also won't just ovulate naturally. So then when the doctor called, she mentioned that she was okay with me doing the progesterone and oil since it's a bit faster than the Provera. And so that made me really happy because I was like, okay, at least there's kind of a plan. And so she told me that she was going to have the nurse call me to get that set up. The other thing is that she said, I had asked her like, well, what do you think happened? Like what would be the protocol for our next cycle? And she basically said like everything would stay the same. The only difference would be is that we wouldn't lower your dosage because that's kind of what was the causing factor for everything that happened. Like I'm just really sensitive to adjustments. So she said that she would keep everything the same, and then when I start the centricide, I just wouldn't lower my dosage as she did it this last time. I think she's just kind of afraid to overstim me, but at this point she's like, I kind of have to stim you. So yeah, so that will be what will happen. I did get a call from the nurse and she was like, yeah, if you want to come in tomorrow, we can go ahead and do that. So I have that scheduled for tomorrow, and then I have to wait about 7 days before I get my period. And then once I get my period, it will be day 3 of that cycle that we will start stims again. So altogether, it really shouldn't be more than about 12 days before we start stimming again, which is awesome because I was really worried that it was gonna be like a whole other month, and that was part of the reason like I was crying earlier, because I was just like, man, I don't want to do this again in like a month. Like I just want to keep going. Like I just want to do it. So I'm happy that we can just kind of keep going. And Bridget was saying like it kind of feels like this is still a part of that first cycle, and this is similar to how kind of I felt when my IUI, my 3rd IUI got canceled, and then they like upped my letrozole dosage. Like I feel like this is kind of still part of that process for this IVF cycle, even though technically it's not. It's going to be a completely different cycle because we are starting over, but I think because it's shorter in time, it feels better. So yeah, so I will go in for my first progesterone and oil, wish me luck, shot tomorrow, and then I should get my period within 7 days, or about 7 days. And then, yeah, once I get it, I'll go in day 2 for ultrasound and blood work, and then day 3, I will start stims again. So that's my update. This is where we're at. These are next steps. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. I would love for you to follow my journey and to connect with me. If you have any questions or comments, leave a line below. I love seeing everybody's messages. You know, it's not the end. We are still going, and we will push forward, and eventually I will have my baby. So yeah, so thanks for watching. Bye.